You probably already knew what was coming just for the video's title and thumbnail, didn't you? Well, we're happy to oblige. But let's get one thing straight. This channel isn't an anti-law enforcement. Heck, we've got family and friends who wear the badge. But there have been many times when serious mistakes were made, and sadly, some folks paid the ultimate price. They also throw shades on all the other cops who are just trying to do their job right. This video is going to dive into 8 times the police, for one reason or another, went full retard and ended up fatally shooting the wrong person. Again, this aren't about making the police look bad, but they do highlight that sometimes things can get really messy out there. Each of these tales is a mix of bad luck and snap decisions gone wrong. Now, these cases have some people all fired up, wondering how they can be prevented from happening ever again, while others just make you want to pull your hair out, prepared to be frustrated. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you like this video. Number 8. Richard Ward, a 32-year-old dude, got shot on February 22, 2022 by a certain Deputy Charles McWhorter at a middle school in Colorado. Here's the breakdown. Richard was chilling in his mom's white SUV at the school, waiting to pick up his little bro. He decided to take a quick walk and get this, ended up getting into the wrong SUV by accident. He quickly apologized to the driver and jumped back into his mom's ride. Not long after, Deputies McWhorter and Gonzalez showed up. They got a call about some suspicious guy. McWhorter starts talking to Richard, and Richard's like, "Man, I'm nervous around cops. I have some bad experiences." They chat for a bit, and when McWhorter asks for ID, Richard looks through his pockets and pops an anti-anxiety pill. Things went south quick. McWhorter gets all up in his face, demanding to know what he took. In the scuffle that followed, the body cams got knocked off, but you can hear Richard saying it was just a pill, even though Richard wasn't fighting back hard. McWhorter ended up shooting him 3 times, point blank. Super messed up. And here's the twist. A year later, McWhorter gets a Purple Heart for the minor injuries he supposedly sustained during that encounter. What a world. Number 7. Philando Castile. Philando Castile, a St. Louis native and grad from St. Paul Central High in 01, worked for the St. Paul School since 2002. He had roles at Chelsea Heights Elementary and Arlington High, then got a bump at J.J. Hill Montessori in 2014. Crazy fact, before 2016, he was pulled over like 49 times in 13 years, mostly for small stuff, but the guy was squeaky clean. So here's the wild part. On July 6, 2016, in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, he was cruising with his girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, and her kiddo around 9 p.m. Officer Yanez and other cop flag him down. Stuff got real confusing when Phil mentioned his firearm, for which he does have a license to carry. Before anything could clear the air, Yanez let off 7 shots, hitting Castile. Sadly, just 20 minutes later, he didn't make it. Diamond was quick thinking and went live on Facebook, and as one would expect, it went viral. People everywhere were ticked. Protests popped all over. By year's end, Yanez had charges slapped on him, including his second-degree manslaughter. But get this, by June 16, 2017, a jury said he was good to go and he walked. He did lose his job, but it's still frustrating, isn't it? Number 6. Robert Dodson. Rob Dodson, a 52-year-old guy from Farmington, was just hanging at home when local cops shot him right at his front door. Late at night on April 5, cops came knocking, and Rob, not knowing who it was, grabbed his gun from atop the fridge and went to see. The complaint says that police cars were parked way down the street without lights on. Before Rob knew it, 3 officers blasted away, hitting him 12 times. Kimberly, Rob's wife, hearing the commotion, raced downstairs in her robe. Cops fired 19 shots at her, but miraculously missed each time. They then cuffed Kimberly and her 2 kids, taking them to the station without a shred of respect for their traumatic situation. Turns out, New Mexico State Police admitted the Farmington officer made a huge mistake. They were supposed to be a different address for a domestic violence call. Even though the officer said they identified themselves, the body cam shows Rob only checking the door once they were leaving. Farmington's police chief, Steve Hebb, seemed turned up about the screw-up. Fast forward to the September 15th, and the Dotson family is taking the department to court for Rob's tragic death. Number 5. Daniel Shaver. Alright, so back in 2016, Daniel Shaver, a dude from Texas, was in his hotel room in Arizona. He had a couple of friends over and was showing off an air rifle he used in his job. Pest control inside grocery stores. Some bystanders sees the rifle through the windows and figure it's a threat. Next thing you know, the cops are on their way. The police, including police officer Philip Brailsford, reach the hotel and there's a lot of tension in the hallway. They're shouting commands at Daniel, and he obviously overwhelmed. They tell him to crawl toward them. He tries to follow their confusing command, and as he reaches back, probably to pull up his shorts, Brailsford thinks he's going for a gun. And then, bam! Brailsford shoots Daniel 5 times, even though the guy was unarmed. Later on, it comes out that Daniel has been drinking, which might have slowed his reactions. But here's where things take another twist. Brailsford gets charged with second-degree murder. The trial happens, and despite all the drama, he's acquitted. People then start digging up Brailsford's past, and it turns out he had some controversial encounters before. Oh, and he engraved "Your F-top" on his patrol rifle, which makes you wonder. The Mesa Police Department fires Brailsford, but due to some internal politics or whatever, they later reinstate him briefly. He claims PTSD from the shooting incident and ends up retiring with a sweet monthly pension of $2,500. Oh, how sweet. Number 4. Tatiana Jefferson. Tatiana Jefferson, 28, was chilling at her place in October 2019, playing video games with her nephew. She was a pre-med grad from Xavier University of Louisiana, and by all accounts, just enjoying a regular evening. But everything changed that night. The Fort Worth police receive a tip about an open door in the neighborhood. Officer Aaron Dean, relatively new to the force with just a year and a half under his belt, went to check it out. Hearing noises outside, Tatiana grabbed her legally owned gun from her purse. The door was open. Her nephew explained later, because they were trying to air out the smell of burnt hamburgers. In the blink of an eye, Dean shot through a window, and Tatiana was gone. Dean ducked out of his job before they could kick him to the curb, all due to him violating a bunch of department policies. He was soon arrested and charged with murder, thanks to the footage from his body cam. Though he got out on bond in a jiffy, this trial turned out into a real roller coaster with delays, drama, and venue changes. Finally, in December 2022, the verdict was out. Guilty of manslaughter, not murder. Number 3. Christian Glass. Christian Glass' unfortunate incident happened on June 11, 2022, near Silver Plume, Colorado. Glass, originally from New Zealand but American by citizenship, was big into geology. Late at night, he rang up 911 because his car got stuck. He was already kind of spooked, mentioning he was worried about skinwalkers and telling the operators that he had some tools in his car for his geology stuff. But he'd ditched them when cops showed. When police got there, it was a whole scene. Glass was scared and wouldn't get out. After an hour of back and forth, with cops from different departments showing up, things escalated. They broke his window, tried to subdue him with beanbags and tasers, and things got messy. At one point, Glass was going to stab himself with his knife, and a certain Deputy Buen shot him multiple times. Glass didn't make it. The official statement painted Glass as being the aggressive one, but the whole thing's under heavy investigation. The DA looking into it, and even the feds are monitoring the case. Glass family lawyer said Glass had some mental health issues, but nothing major. Interestingly, the same deputy involved had a previous complaint from another guy in 2019. Finally, in November 2022, Deputies Buen and Gold got indicted and fired. The governor even met Glass's parents, expressing how tragic the whole thing was. Number 2. Botham Jean. So here's the lowdown. Botham Jean, 27, working for the big shot firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, was chilling in his Dallas apartments having some ice cream on September 6, 2018. Then Dallas cop Amber Guyger walks into his place, thinking it's hers, and shoots Botham thinking he's a burglar. The apartment setup is wild. Botham and Amber live in Southside Flats near the Dallas PD HQ. Their apartments? Practically stacked. Amber was right below Botham's, and they look super alike. On the night of the incident, Amber wrapped up a crazy long 13.5-hour shift, parked on the fourth floor, and was yapping on the phone with her lover. Somehow, she missed Botham's big red doormat and went right into his place thinking it was hers. Once inside, she sees Botham just enjoying his ice cream and panics. She fires her gun, hitting him. She dials 911, but sadly, Botham doesn't make it. The Texas Rangers jump in, and 3 days later, Amber gets arrested. At first, they charge her with manslaughter, but that soon switches to murder. With the racial vibe of the whole situation, protests pop off in Dallas. The Dallas PD? They put Amber on paid leave, then gave her the boot a few weeks later. In 2019, Guyger got slapped with a 10-year prison sentence. She can try for parole next year. She tried to play the "I thought it was my place" card with the Court of Criminal Appeals, hoping they'd rethink the original decision. But they weren't having it. On the end of the day, Texas top criminal court said her 10-year sentence and murder conviction stand. Number 1. Tamir Rice. On November 22, 2014, 12-year-old Tamir E. Rice was tragically killed in Cleveland, Ohio by Timothy Loman, a 26-year-old police officer. Tamir had a replica toy gun, and when Loman showed up, shots were fired in mere moments. Loman and another officer, 46-year-old Frank Garmbach, were answering a call about a guy waving a pistol around at Kudil Recreation Center. The caller did mention twice that the gun might be fake and the guy might be a kid. But that info didn't make its way to the responding officers. The officer claimed that they shouted, "Show me your hands," multiple times. When they arrived, Loman believed Tamir was pulling out a gun. The officer shot twice, hitting Tamir once. Judge Ronald B. Edrin pointed out that the patrol car was still moving when the shots were fired. Tamir tragically passed away the next day. Turns out, Tamir Guns was an airsoft replica without the usual orange tip indicating it's a toy. A video of the incident got released a few days later. By June 2015, the investigation wrapped up and handed off to prosecutors. A grand jury decided not to charge anyone mainly because they believed Tamir was pulling out what looked like a real gun. Later, Tamir's family got $6 million settlement from Cleveland. After all this, it surfaced that Loman, in a previous cop gig in Independence, Ohio, was labeled emotionally unstable and unfit for duty. He didn't spill this when applying to Cleveland's police force, and they didn't check his past records. In 2017, after digging into this, Cleveland PD fired him, but a review by retired FBI agent Kimberly Crawford said the officer acted reasonably in the situation. These feds.